What is it?
Oh my god, look how ugly this kid is.
Can you just focus on finding stuff, please?
Okay, chill out. What do you want me to do?
Find the kitchen and see if there's any food.
Why? Because I'm the woman? So much for traditional family values.
Can you just go look for food?
And what exactly are you going to be doing?
I'm going to be doing a movie review.
Ugh, gross. I'll be in the kitchen.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another Bargain Bin movie review. Today we're going to talk about the 2020 film, A Quiet Place Part 2. Following the deadly events at home, the Abbott family must now face the terrors of the outside world as they continue their fight for survival in silence. Forced to venture into the unknown, they quickly realize that the creatures that hunt by sound are not the only threats that lurk beyond the sand paths in this gripping, edge-of-your-seat thriller. Rated PG-13.
Emily Blunt plays Evelyn Abbott, the matriarch of the Abbott family. Evelyn is struggling to hold her family together after the events of the first film. Blunt does a great job at expressing this stern vulnerability. While she has to be a no-nonsense leader for her family, these are also her children, including a baby who was just born a few hours before the beginning of this film. While Evelyn's story does get pushed to the side as the movie goes on, Emily Blunt still shines every time she's on the screen. Writer and director John Krasinski reprises his role as Lee Abbott, the patriarch of the family, but only in the opening sequences. Instead, Cillian Murphy takes over that male lead as Emmett. Emmett is one of the off-screen characters from the first movie who kept the signal fire burning to communicate with the Abbotts. Cillian plays the gruff loner with a heart of gold as intensely as he possibly could. He attempts to push the family away, but falls right back into his fatherly ways. While I enjoyed Cillian's performance overall, it sometimes just felt like a terrified face compilation. It was just in every scene. Millicent Simmons plays Reagan Abbott, the oldest child of the family. She is deaf, which should be a hindrance when your entire life depends on knowing if you're making a noise. But this gave an advantage to the Abbott family since they all knew how to do sign language. Plus, Reagan can read lips. This is all brought to life by Millicent's spectacular acting. I think her being deaf in real life helped her bring an emotional gravity to the film. Aside from the baby, the final member of the Abbott family is Marcus, played by Noah Jupe. He also did a great job of sharing his character's fears and pain on the screen. This is actually a really well-acted film. Everybody brought their A-game. I saw the original A Quiet Place in theaters in 2018, and I saw the third movie of the series, A Quiet Place Day 1, when it released last year. While I enjoyed the original quite a bit, the prequel didn't have as much of an impact. It was entertaining, it just didn't really add a lot of overall lore to the series. That being said, I wasn't really expecting much out of this one. The movie opens on a picturesque day. It's pure small-town Americana as the Abbott family enjoys a Little League game. Then the meteors come down from the sky and panic ensues. We then fast forward to the present day, just moments after the ending of the previous film. Evelyn gathers the family up and they set out on their journey to find safety. I found this bit a little confusing. Their farm had everything they needed. Crops growing, canned food, solar power, the works. Leaving all of this behind for the uncertainty of the road was just a bad choice to me, especially with a one-day-old baby. Just the scarcity of food on the road would hurt Evelyn's ability to provide sustenance to her newborn. But this movie doesn't really acknowledge food supplies. Picking up the story right at the end of the first film also produces some continuity issues, mainly the ages of the child actors. Now, it's been 7 years since I've seen the first film, so I didn't really notice the children growing 2 years in that time frame. But after I looked at photos from the first movie, it became more apparent. It's not a big issue unless you're watching the films back to back. The film focuses on the discovery that Reagan made at the end of the first film, how her hearing aid can create a frequency that disrupts the aliens' hunting. The aliens are assumed to be blind and use sound to locate their prey. Reagan is eager to get this discovery out to others so they too can fight back. My issue with this is the time frame. It has been 474 days since the meteors fell, over a year and 3 months. And yet no one else has figured this out? No scientists, military, engineers, no one? I would think that by now, something would have been done to remedy this situation. And that's a big weakness of this movie and franchise. The lack of world building. Everything is just so limited in scope. Now this does create a sense of isolation and tension, which I do like, but sometimes I just wonder what everybody else on Earth is doing. Are they making progress in the fight against these aliens? And about these aliens, why do we still know so little about them? How many are there? How do they reproduce? Are there more meteors coming down? We don't even know what they eat. We see them kill humans, but not eat them. I understand that keeping the audience in the dark about the aliens is supposed to make them scarier. But for me, it's kind of a creative cop-out. I would have really liked for the characters to learn just a little bit more about the aliens. These discoveries could have been used to create even more horror and tension in the film. But the tension is present thanks to great visuals and composition. There are many interesting shots to show the scope of how far the world has deteriorated. The sudden departure of humanity is shown in great detail. It leads me to believe that the human population was effectively culled by the aliens. In fact, Emmett is the first person that we've seen in 2 movies who lived in the same town as the Abbotts. While I enjoyed the shot... What?
You think these breadsticks are any good?
What is all over your face?
Oh, what, this? Yeah, I found some jam. Looks pretty good, doesn't it?
You know we could eat that, right?
Oh my god, that's why we have these breadsticks.
Well?
They're stale.
While I enjoy the shot compilations of the film, I can see how some people might think that it gets a little repetitive. One shot that is used quite frequently is when we have a character in frame, but the background is slightly out of focus. The viewer can notice some movement back behind the character, and then the camera shifts focus back. This happens quite a few times, actually, usually just to show the aliens slinking in the background. There's also frequent use of parallel shots. This happened when characters were in different locations, but were experiencing pivotal moments. The camera jumps back and forth between the situations, amplifying the tension of both. I think this was an effective film technique, but it was used just a little too much. I blame this on the story, because the main cast is separated for a large portion of the film. Now, they are all doing important things, but this constant juxtaposition between them made the film feel a little disjointed. Now, that same technique is used in the finale of the film, and I think it works spectacularly there. It shows the parallels of Regan and Marcus's journey from children to survivors. It's a poignant scene that seals the Abbott family's fate, while also leaving the story open for another sequel. Perhaps another film could explore more of the world, or at least what's left of it. Now, a movie about aliens that use sound to hunt will have a strong focus on sound design. I particularly liked when we got to experience the world as Regan does. It helps us understand the challenges she faces and overcomes. Then when the sound comes back on, the noise swell really ups the tension ante. While A Quiet Place Part 2 expertly uses sound to create tension, it often fails the test of reality. What I mean is that some sounds are muted, even though that is unrealistic. This movie magic is a plot convenience. Because in reality, just about everything you do makes a sound. Walking, picking things up, rummaging through bags. Heck, even my knees make a sound when I bend down. I would be so disappointed to die just because my knee pops. A decent chunk of this movie takes place in an old metal mill. Everything is rusted through. Yet when large metal hatches are opened and closed, they are silent. Sure, the characters can take great care in opening and closing them, but those hinges are still going to groan, unless they have a hidden stash of WD-40. Now, the other movies in the series did the same thing, but it still doesn't make much sense. Overall, A Quiet Place Part 2 continues to give us a tense, human story of survival. The cast gives super performances, which makes connecting to the characters very easy. But the movie magic of sound suppression and the repeated shot compositions hold it back. And that is why I am giving A Quiet Place Part 2 the loud score of 8 out of 10. If you can suspend your understanding of sound for 96 minutes, then this film is a masterclass of suspense. So, what is your stance on A Quiet Place Part 2? Whisper down to me in the comments below.
Evelyn! Evelyn!
What? I think they have tuna here.
Come here!
What the heck? You almost messed up my hair. First off, don't shush me.
Shh! I think the aliens are back! Don't you see the danger we are in?
I don't see anything since you blew out the candles.
Can you just shut up?
There's much better. Oh, I wonder what this is all about.